Hi guys. Okay, so I don't have on makeup right now. So, no mean comments, please, because I will come kick your butt wherever you are.
Wow, a few seconds into this video and we already have a threat of violence. Well, don't worry honey, I won't care if you do or don't wear makeup in your videos whatsoever. I don't wear any makeup in mine, so why should I care if you do or don't in yours?
But okay, so today I want to talk about something because I got extremely offended. And I do every time it happens to me. I need to take a drink. Hold on. Baja Blasts are the best. But anyways, I got extremely offended because I went in Taco Bell tonight. And I know I should not take this very serious because they're young. But there was like this little group of like 12-year-old boys. And you know, they were staring at me the whole time I was there. I had on bibs and this cardigan, and I was just like, okay, yeah, whatever. I had on flip-flops. I didn't have on any makeup. I was just like this, pretty much. And they left, and then two of them came back, and one of them yelled in the door, "Dang, she fine."
Oh.
Talking to me, because there was no other woman in there. And like these guys, like the men that were in there, except for my uncle, you know, he got offended, but like everybody else, they just kind of giggled at it, and I was just kind of like,
What? You were waiting for somebody to stand up and defend your honour simply because you got a compliment from a 12-year-old boy? Grow up.
so it brought me to the topic because my friend, he messaged me and he was like, well, that's kind of rude, because I put it on Snapchat because I was like, you're not funny, you're stupid.
Just like a feminist. Going straight onto social media and complaining that you got a compliment from a 12-year-old boy. Grow up.
And he was like, well, that's rude. And I was like, okay, no, this is not rude. This is an important topic. I was like, can you tell I'm a feminist? And he was like, yeah, a little bit. And I was like, well, I think being a woman is very serious. Because women get a lot of crap for everything.
Really? We do? This is news to me. I mean, I might get a lot of crap for wearing this hat, but really? We do? That's a bit of a broad generalisation, don't you think?
So I came up with a list here of why I'm a feminist. And I don't want to take up too much time, so I'll probably have a part 2. So if you want to see that, maybe comment down below and let me know. Because I think this is an important topic, because women get a lot of crap. And I think it's an important topic. So, let's go.
Do it! Just do it!
Number 1. Okay, so women are taught in public schools that if you have sex, you lose a part of yourself.
Well, you obviously had a different sex ed class compared to me, because I was never taught that. My teacher did inform me that when a girl was to have sex the first time, it might be uncomfortable because the hymen was breaking, but she never uttered the words, "you will lose a part of yourself." If I'm honest, that sounds like something a church would say.
And if you have sex with more than like 2 people, you're a slut. But if a guy has sex more than twice, he's a champion. I think that's wrong, because women are sexual beings just like men are. I think it's wrong.
Now again, you must have had a vastly different sex ed class in school compared to me, because I was never taught that in school. On the topic of slut shaming though, there could be a biological reason for this, or more so a biological primitive reason. Down below I will link Teal Deer's video on slut shaming and his thoughts of it, where basically it goes into explaining that it could be a primitive biological nature in us that slut shames, basically. Where basically within certain societies, a woman has to be choosy of who she's to mate with, because then that can allow the next generation to be improved upon from the old. But if she was, very, very sexual and had multiple partners, it does raise question of her standards. Her standards in mates and therefore her standards in offspring. So it could be primitive parts in our brains that do that. Again, I will link down TLD as a video below. It's a really good video, really good watch. Just watch it. So yeah.
Number 2, because I was told the first time I was going to have sex, it would be painful and it would be gross. That bothers me.
Well, again, I have to question this sex ed teacher of this sex ed class that you had, because it's very strange. If their goal was to put the fear of God into you, then I think they achieved their mission. But that's not what I experienced, that's not what many other girls in my class experienced the same time I took the class. What my teacher said was, it will be a bit uncomfortable because the hymen's breaking. But they also said that it's a perfectly natural biological fact. It happens, and there's nothing to be afraid of. Depending on the individual, it could be painful and it could be bloody. But again, it couldn't be. It might not be. So there's nothing to be afraid of. But just because you receive some bad advice from this teacher that was trying to put the fear of God into you, doesn't justify feminism. I'm sorry.
Number 3, 1 out of 4 women are sexually abused, and it's still asked till this day, well, what was she wearing? Was she showing too much? No, that's not okay. That is not okay.
To answer about the questions, there are certain situations where asking such questions are perfectly fine. For example, if the police were to obtain some CCTV footage, but the footage was actually too grainy to identify the victim through facial recognition, or to actually identify the face of the victim prior to the alleged assault, what they might actually ask the victim is, what clothes were you wearing on the night of the assault? This will then allow them to identify the victim and hopefully then identify the assailant, because they might find the assailant going after them. Also, when the prosecutor might ask this question, if the prosecutor was bringing forth evidence that the victim, I present Exhibit A, the victim's skirt, which shows skin epithelials and hair from the defendant. I put this forth, the DNA matches, blah blah blah. So there are certain situations where that sort of thing is perfectly fine. But I ask you this, show me footage that's not off a TV show of a defendant or of a lawyer defending the accused, asking the potential victim, what clothes were you wearing, in order to shame the woman, because I doubt you'll find any. As for that 1 in 4 statistic, I will let Christina Hoff Sommers literally bury you with facts.
Next myth. 1 in 5 college women will be sexually assaulted. Now, this incendiary figure is everywhere in the media today. The 1 in 5 figure is based on a survey called the Campus Sexual Assault Study. But 2 prominent criminologists have noted fatal flaws. It had a very low response rate, a non-representative sample of respondents, and an overly broad definition of what counts as assault. I mean, it included such things as attempted forced kissing or intimate encounters while intoxicated. Now, defenders of the 1 in 5 figure will reply that the finding has been replicated by other studies. But these studies suffer from the same sorts of flaws. Now, the best study that we have on sexual assault on campus suggests the figures are closer to 1 in 40, not 1 in 4. 1 in 40 is still bad, but apparently not bad enough for the activists.
Okay, a woman could be wearing exactly what I'm wearing now. I'm not showing too much cleavage. I'd have on a cardigan. I have on pants. I could be raped right freaking now if I went outside.
That's one way to fearmonger.
Is that not, does nobody understand that men want sex all the time? That's always on their mind?
How do you know? Have you been into the mind of a man? Have you seen what the man's mind's eye has been perusing? Because that's a pretty broad assertion right there. Men think about other things other than sex. I mean, I could call up my brother and he could be contemplating on what college courses he's got to do and how much he hates them, or what Dragon Ball Z drawing he might be thinking of doing next. Men don't just think about sex all the time. So, yeah, pretty broad assertion on your part, Missy.
Does nobody understand that? Because being a woman, it's not okay to show off your figure or to show off your feminism and be okay with that. To show off your beauty, that's not okay, because God forbid you do that, because you'll get raped. That's not okay.
All I'm gonna say after all of that is citation fucking needed. Oy vey.
Number 4, because yelling at a woman, if a man yells at a woman from across the street or whistles at her, if a woman rolls her eyes at him, that's not okay. She's being a bitch. It doesn't make us feel good. It doesn't make us feel wanted. And it does not, it just makes us feel like dogs. We're not dogs. It makes us want to go home and take a shower because it makes us feel nasty. It's not okay.
You know, some women like being catcalled because they like the attention that they get. It gives them a boost in confidence. It lets them know that men appreciate how they look. You know, and also, women can catcall men. Okay, it's not a one-way street. Women can catcall men just as much as men can catcall women. So yeah, speak for yourself.
Number 5. Because boobs are allowed to sell food and products, but a woman cannot breastfeed in public. A woman cannot feed her child in public because you're going to see some boob. What the hell? That's not okay.
Just to comment on your point about the advertisement. People are drawn to the beautiful. It's what draws us in. So, sexy women are used in certain advertisements and sexy men are used in others. Here are some examples of sexy men being used as advertisements specifically aimed at women.
Girls, come here. Yeah. Oh, he's back. He likes that. And he likes that. And I'm liking that. So fruity.
I'm here for my 11:30 appointment.
I'm here for my 11:30 and 11:30.
11:30.
I don't want you to be no slave. I don't want you to work all day. But I want you to be true.
No wonder it's so hard to get an appointment here.
Just wanna make love to you.
Want you to be no slave. I don't want you to work all day. But I want you to be true. And I just wanna make love to you. Love to you. Ooh, love to you. All I want to do is wash your clothes. I don't want to keep you indoors. There is nothing for you to do but keep me making love to you. Love to you.
Now, I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for my personal opinion on this free the nipple thing. My opinion is I don't want to see it. I personally do not want to see a woman's bare breast, even if it's got a baby hanging off the end of it, out in public. I don't want to see it. I find it indignant. And that's probably just because of how I was raised. But just because I don't want to see it, does that mean I say to women, don't breastfeed at all out in public? No. There are ways that you can breastfeed out in public, yet still maintain your dignity and privacy. You can either wear a long coat or a long shawl for summer use, just to cover you and the baby, so that it gives you dignity and you privacy. But it all comes down to the fact that I don't want to see it. I don't want to see a stranger's boob just whipped out whenever the baby cries for a feed. Yeah, I just don't want to see it. Another option is the bottle, but I understand if women don't want to make their babies go onto the bottle. But the fact is, I just don't want to see it. I find it indignant, and you know, I mean, the shawl could be there if you can't find anywhere private, and I'm not saying that women should be forced into the bathroom just to go feed their child. That's where the shawl comes in again, or the long coat, because it blocks the view. So, yeah, allow women to breastfeed out in public, but women who want to breastfeed out in public, at least take it upon yourselves to cover yourselves, so that it gives you some dignity and privacy. That's just my opinion on it. Because I don't want to see it. It's something intimate and private. Yeah, that's just my personal opinion on it.
Number 6. Because women, if you go out, you can't look crappy. You can't just walk out the house if you're out chilling. You can't just go get stuff. You have to look nice. You have to have your hair done. You have to have shaved legs. You have to... I'm getting a little bit aggravated, can you tell? But you have to look nice. And that's not okay, because men can go out in, like, sweats and flip-flops and...
You're just making shit up now, aren't you? Because if there is such a rule, an unwritten rule such as that, then I've been abusing it for years. I mean, I went out today looking like this, and I never got told that I should go back inside because I don't look pretty. So, yeah, you're just making shit up now.
Number 7, because shaving every time you want to look nice, or shaving every time you want to have sex, is a must. Because you have to be nice and smooth. You have to feel like a freaking baby's butt so you can be touched. Or not, you get called nasty.
You do know that most of the time things like that is woman's personal choice. I mean, if they want to shave, wax, hair in certain places, and that's their choice. Or if they want to stay hairy in certain places, that's their choice. Yes, men will have preferences, but at the end of the day, it's women's preferences over their own body. Okay, if they want to have a hairy bush or stay as smooth as a baby's bottom, it's their choice. Also, you do know that some women might actually shave, wax, or do whatever for hygienic reasons. They may not like hair in certain places. As I say, everybody's an individual. Not everybody's like you.
Number 8. Because women get paid less than a man. Did you know a woman by the age of 64 makes $450,000 less than a man does in the same position? How messed up is that? A woman could be in a higher level of work than you, and the man would probably still get paid more than you. No, that's not okay.
The wage gap is simply the average earnings of men and women working full-time. It does not count for different job positions, hours worked, or different jobs. It has nothing to do with the same job. It has nothing to do with discrimination.
Number 9. Because a woman gets a lot of shit over saying that they're in pain over their period. If you don't have a uterus, you don't have an opinion. I'm just saying, because you don't know what it feels like to have a period. You don't know what it feels like to wake up in the middle of the night and be like, go pee, and be like, oh, well, I'm bleeding. You don't know what it's like to bleed every month just so you know you're not pregnant. You don't know what it's like to wait and wait and wait for your period just so you know that, well, I'm not pregnant. Oh God, am I pregnant? And then if you're late, having anxiety attacks because you think you're pregnant.
Well, as somebody with a uterus, I guess I can have an opinion on this, can't I? Look, the reason why women get a lot of shit about their periods is because women complain about their periods almost constantly. If we didn't complain about how much pain we're in, or we're angry because we're on our periods, or whatever, we wouldn't get as much shit as we do. And yes, even I'll admit to some complaining whenever I've been on one. But you know what I do? If it happens, if I start, I just grab the painkillers, grab my Pepsi, and grab whatever else I need, and off the door I go. Or I go back to bed and I sleep it off. I don't make a big song and dance about it. You know? That's it. Oh, and that whole thing about, worrying about being pregnant, there is such a thing as contraception, which women have an abundance of. So if you're so worried about being pregnant, I suggest looking into it. Either that, or just don't have sex. How about that? What is it with feminists and periods, seriously?
Number 10. Because women can't just be friends with other women. It's always a competition. It's always, well, do I look better than her? Do I smell better than her? Does my hair look better than her? Does my makeup look better than her? It's always a competition between women. They can't just be nice and be friends.
Sorry to tell you, honey, but that's not really going to go away, no matter what feminism tries to do. Women are going to have competitions with each other, just as men do. It's all part of a peacock displaying its feathers, as it were. The mating ritual dance of life. You know? I mean, we can be friends. There's just that edge of competition to it as well. And I mean, what's wrong with a little competition anyway? It kind of pushes you to be better in a sense.
Number 11. Because if a guy gets called a pussy, he gets offended. A pussy can push out a freaking human being. Pushed out a male. If you are a male and you are watching this and you get offended by calling a pussy, I freaking hate you. You cannot be called a pussy and get offended. Because a pussy is a very strong set of tissue down there, okay? And it can grow and it can shrink back. It's very strong, and if you get offended by being called a pussy, I don't like you. Just saying.
For the love of Hades. I'm just going to say what Undoomed said in his. It's possible that when men call each other a pussy, it's a shortened version of pusillanimous. I'll put a link down in the description below for the dictionary definition. But it basically means coward or faint of heart. So maybe over time, instead of saying you're a pusillanimous, they just shortened it to pussy. Okay? But the reason why I'm really annoyed is I hate this form of argument that feminists have in saying that the vagina is basically strong, and that makes women strong, okay? Because we're able to give birth out of it, this natural thing that nature gave us through evolution. We are able to give birth, okay? And somehow having a vagina equates to strength. That's not what I see. That's not what I think. It really, giving birth equates to pain tolerance. That's just me, but I hate this argument, and it really annoys me. But yeah, basically what Undoomed says, when men call each other a pussy, it's basically, you're a coward, you're a pusillanimous. So yeah.
15. Because in Saudi Arabia, women can still not drive and they still cannot vote. That's really messed up.
The only thing that I can say to that is, get up off your ass and do something about it. Instead of complaining about first world problems, go to Saudi Arabia and do something about it. Help the women in other countries that aren't as privileged as women in the first world countries. Get that? If you want to do something about women in Saudi Arabia not being able to drive or vote, do something about it. Stop complaining about periods and vaginas and wage gaps and do something about it. It's a valid point. Maybe you should look into more valid points like it.